If you want to be pain-free, functional, and athletic for as long as possible, then you need to drop the bro split.
What did you say?
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you don't know me, I'm Coach Taryn, founder of Different Breed. Today we're going to talk about bro splits, why they're shit, and what you should be doing instead. I think it's fair to say most of us started our training like this, doing chest, back, legs, abs and arms, shoulders, or some sort of permutation of this, which as a beginner who wants to build a little bit of muscle, sure, it's absolutely fine. But if you want to become really athletic and avoid injury, this is just not the way to do your programming. You need to think about it a little bit differently. First things first, we need to define what athletic is and what, avoiding injury is. So being athletic is the ability to display athletic qualities to a high degree. And that could either be one athletic quality to an extreme degree or a range of athletic qualities to a relatively good degree. These are things like mobility, speed, strength, power, balance. There are arguably more than that. There definitely are more than that. You could also, you can sort of consider hypertrophy an athletic quality because more muscle allows you to do stuff, but I think it gets a bit ropey there. Coordination, speed, strength. This is kind of what we're looking at. Obviously you have cardiovascular traits, anaerobic conditioning, all of this, but essentially it's qualities like this. And then avoid injury. And if we want to avoid injury, essentially we need excess capacity than the demands placed on us by our daily life, whether that be through the sports we do, through the job we work, through just playing with our kids. We need to have excess capacity such that something we do in our daily life doesn't have the ability to injure us. So for example, if I was a builder and I wanted to look after my back, I'd want to make sure that my back is strong enough to deal with any of the loads that I need to lift in my job. So I want to have an excess of strength. Say the maximum load I need to lift is 50 kg in work. I'm going to want at least, 70 kg, significantly north of 50 in a similar movement in the gym. So it is just excess capacity for movements in life. So that is what being athletic is, and that's what avoiding injury means. And obviously if we want to be pain-free and we want to be functional for a really long time, we want to be athletic and we don't want to be injured. That's kind of how that comes together, all of which a bro split is not very good for. There's two main issues with the bro split. So number one is it doesn't really work for training athletic qualities. If we on chest, for example, wanted to train multiple athletic qualities, and I did power followed by speed, followed by some strength, followed by some hypertrophy work, and then maybe I wanted to do some balance at the end. If every single one of those exercises is completely chest dominant, then I would probably have a good first half of my workout when I do the power and speed, some of the strength. But as I get to that last half where I want to do some hypertrophy, some balance, I'm going to be fucked. And I'm going to have a really wasted last half of my session, which essentially means you waste half your training sessions and therefore you're not getting effective volume within half your training session. So you just do less effective training, which of course means less adaptation and therefore less progress. Now the other problem is splitting things into body parts like this just doesn't really make that much sense to actually train athletic qualities. If I want to do a movement like a clean and jerk, where does this go? It just doesn't fit in here. If I wanted to do work like a handstand to improve my balance, where does this go? By programming this and taking this lens, because what we need to understand is a bro split is a lens of viewing a training system. By taking that lens, you essentially eliminate a load of exercises that don't fit into these categories, which means you don't train them, which means you miss out on amazing exercises to develop a wide range of athletic qualities. Sprinting, clean and jerks for power, compound lifts such as deadlifts, hack lifts for your strength, handstanding for your balance. There is just nowhere where this logically makes sense if you're really trying to target body parts. This lens only makes sense if you're programming exclusively for hypertrophy. It doesn't make sense when programming for anything else. So how do we need to program to solve that problem? It's actually really simple. We need to program in full body splits. Full body, I'm going to write it here. Full body, ran out of space. Me being the king of shit whiteboard writing strikes again. But we train full body, so fuck off this bro split. And we do this because it essentially solves both problems of the bro split, and it doesn't raise any more problems. And we're going to talk through an example of a full body program so you can understand how we solve these problems and why this actually works. Give me a second to rub this out and then we'll get going. Okay, so we're going to take a client called Alex. They want to improve their BJJ I've forgotten how to spell athleticism. King of spelling wrong strikes again. They want to improve their BJJ athleticism, reduce injury risk, gain functional strength, and improve their mobility. And obviously, if you think about that in a bro split, how the fuck do you program that? It just doesn't make sense. But it makes perfect sense if we think about full body. And we're going to go for a 3-day split, which, you know, you'd think would make it hard to fit it all in, but it really doesn't. So this is our 3-day split. First thing, what do we need for BJJ athleticism? We need them to improve their cardio. We're going to assume they're not like an elite athlete, so this program can be a little bit more simple just for the sake of us writing it on a board quickly to understand the concepts. So they need to improve their cardio, anaerobic, and it's good to do some low intensity for general cardio development, and they need to improve power and speed. They want to reduce injury risk, so we know we need to build excess capacity, and in something like jiu-jitsu, it's going to be in odd positions. It's because people are trying to break your arms and shit, so we're going to say odd positions. Gain functional strength. I mean, that kind of aligns with building excess capacity and building our athleticism for jiu-jitsu, which is quite nice. So we'll just say what we want to do here is some heavy compounds. And of course, this will be upper and lower dominant. By compound, obviously they'll use your full body, but we know without upper and lower dominant. And then we want to improve mobility. We're going to just say this is general mobility. So there's no particular goal. It's not like they want to get splits or a back bridge or anything. It's just general. So when we think about this full body training, what we can do now is say, cool, we want to improve our anabolic and low intensity cardio. So we can say anabolic here, and then we can say low intensity steady state. Power and speed, let's say we want to train that twice a week because that's quite important. Power/speed, power, speed. From there, we could think about adding in our strength work. So we could think about putting a strength day here. And I would think about doing some kind of lower intensity stuff here. So potentially 2 upper body compounds. And then we can do 1 lower compound on each day. So this might be a hinge, this might be a squat, this might be a weighted pull-up, and a strict press, something like that. Because we'll just pick our kind of main movements. And then we can think about loading in the things that kind of more accessory dominant. So the reducing injury risk and improving mobility. So we might do an accessory here, maybe an accessory here. And these might be a bit more simple. So you could think like just a GHD sit up. That's gonna work your back extension and your flexion strength. And here we might do like a kettlebell windmill, which is pretty nice. And then obviously you've got conditioning at the end, so that might be a full day. Then here we could do some more accessories, ×2. And because we haven't done our lower stuff, maybe it's like a single leg RDL, and maybe something like an ATG split squat, which is gonna help us work on our mobility and our accessories for building functional strength and reducing injury risk at an end range. Something like this accessory here would do as well, is going to help us build functional strength and reduce injury risk at end range. And then we might just put in a mobility session here where we do a split between active strength. So we might have like a Jefferson curl and hip flexor raises. And then we might have something like the splits and a bridge. That talks about the accessories. Obviously we've spoken about the lower and upper compounds, but we could also think this power work could be plyos, sprints. Maybe it's Olympic lifting. So now, by taking this full body approach, what you can see is essentially we're able to take these goals, which are all centered around athleticism, and implement them into a program where we can use exercises that actually help. So plyos, sprinting, maybe a hinge. We can do some accessories that work our end range strength, and we can do some conditioning. And this workout will make more sense than if we just did heavy power clean, heavy squat, heavy leg accessories, heavy leg sprints, heavy leg, you can't even really program cardio if it's just legs. How do you program leg cardio? And it's not even going to be effective by the end of the session. But if we did it like this and we did plyos, which don't interfere with lower hinging in particularly, which doesn't really interfere with kettlebell windmills, and then you just do your cardio maybe on a rowing machine, a ski erg, or through a Metcon, where it's really not going to have been overly affected by any of those exercises, and you get a really effective cardio session. It suddenly fits all these kind of weirder exercises like Jefferson curls, hip flexor raises, splits, bridge, that you just couldn't fit in a bro split. You've got Olympic lifting. It's all in there. And now our training sessions are actually effective the whole way through. So we get significantly more effective stimulus because when we hit our upper body twice here and then with accessories here, all of them are actually effective. They're not just like nothing burgers. They actually do something. And that's why we program full body if you want to be functional, athletic, and pain-free for as long as possible. Because to get excess capacity and to display athletic qualities to a high degree, you need to be able to train for them. You need to be able to train for them with effective volume, and that is not possible through the lens of a bro split. However, it is completely possible through the lens of a full body split, and the full body split doesn't actually bring up any more issues, it just solves 2 big problems. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope that was useful, and if you want to see more like this, remember to like this video and hit subscribe. Catch you next week.